When you first learn how to drive, the instructor always gives you this one really counterintuitive piece of advice.
Oh, we're right about where to look.
Exactly. They tell you if there is a pothole or like a stalled car on the side of the road, whatever you do, do not stare at it.
Yeah, that's target fixation.
Yeah.
I mean, the moment your eyes lock onto that obstacle, your brain immediately registers a threat.
Right.
And in response, your subconscious nervous system just subtly hijacks your motor controls. Like your hands adjust the steering wheel, and before you know it,
You're driving straight into the thing you were desperately trying to avoid.
exactly. You steer where you steer.
You steer where you stare. I mean, it makes perfect biological sense when you're moving at 60 miles an hour down the highway. But if you apply that exact same mechanism to how we navigate our daily lives,
Oh, man, yeah.
like our careers, our relationships,
Hmm.
financial stress, suddenly this terrifying pattern emerges. We spend almost all of our waking hours staring at the potholes.
We really do. We just obsess over the obstacles.
Yes, the things going wrong. So today, our mission in this deep dive is to unpack the mechanics of human attention, manifestation, and the law of attraction.
Which is a heavy topic for sure.
It is, but we are looking at a highly provocative 2023 YouTube transcript. It's from an Abraham Hicks presentation, and it's titled, Use Your Sixth Sense to Notice Things Others Never Will.
And, what makes this specific breakdown so compelling is that we really don't need to debate the esoteric origins of the philosophy to find intense value in it.
Right, totally.
Because whether you view manifestation as a literal law of the universe or you view it purely as like cognitive behavioral psychology, this framework is a masterclass in how human beings operate under pressure. It essentially argues that we actively manufacture our own roadblocks by entirely mismanaging our focus.
So for the skeptic listening to this, right, the person who maybe bristles at the phrase law of attraction, stick with us.
Yeah.
Because underneath all the terminology is this fascinating exploration of why we get stuck in repetitive reality.
Yeah, why we keep hitting the same potholes.
Exactly. And how overcoming our own mental resistance might just be the key to shifting your life trajectory. It's a completely mind-bending look at how our internal focus dictates our external experience.
Well, let's look at the foundational argument here, because the framework dismantles the single biggest misconception people have when they try to change their lives.
Okay, lay it out.
So say someone wants a new career or a more fulfilling relationship. The natural human tendency is to demand immediate, massive, tangible results.
Right, we want the magic trick. We want to close our eyes, visualize wealth, open them, and just find a Ferrari parked in the driveway.
Exactly.
And when we open our eyes to look at our same old beat-up sedan, the immediate psychological reaction is profound disappointment.
Right.
And then extreme doubt that any of this even works.
But the problem of demanding the Ferrari right out of the gate is that you're asking your brain to bridge an impossible gap. This philosophy argues that manifestations do not happen instantly simply because a person's vibrational frequency doesn't change that fast. And if we translate vibrational frequency into, psychological terms, we're really talking about your baseline nervous system state.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, you cannot jump from chronic anxiety and scarcity to total abundance in 3 seconds. Your nervous system just won't allow it.
So the source says the first manifestation you should actually be looking for is entirely invisible.
Yes.
It's not the car or the money or the perfect partner. The true initial manifestation is simply a new thought, just an idea you wouldn't normally have, or what they call an emotional upcharge. It's like a sudden surge of positive feeling.
And that emotional surge is the metric of success. During the initial stages of trying to change your life, feeling a sense of relief or excitement is the actual goal.
Wow.
It indicates that your baseline state has shifted.
Okay, I have to push back on that a bit because it feels incredibly contrary to how we are wired in this hyper-capitalist, results-driven society.
Absolutely.
Like telling someone who is desperate to pay their rent that their first manifestation is just feeling a little bit better. It almost sounds insulting.
It does sound like a letdown.
It's like going to the gym for the very first time, doing one push-up, and demanding a six-pack in the mirror. And when the six-pack isn't there, we just quit. So how do we realistically stay satisfied with just an emotional surge when what we actually need is tangible change?
Well, you stay satisfied with it by understanding the mechanism of momentum.
Okay, momentum.
Yeah. When you experience that emotional surge, what is functionally happening is that you are dropping your negative guard. We all walk around wearing this heavy mental armor, right? This defensive posture built from past failures and trauma.
Sure, we're trying to protect ourselves.
Exactly. But when you feel that surge of good emotion, your nervous system steps out of the fight or flight response. And in that temporary absence of defensive resistance, you gain access to different neural pathways.
Oh, interesting.
You start getting impulses.
Right. Sudden urges to call a specific person or read a certain book or maybe take a different route to work. So the emotion generates a new thought, the thought creates an impulse, and then the impulse leads to action.
Yes. But here is the critical failure point that the text identifies. We constantly assassinate these new impulses with our version of reality.
Oh, man. That concept hits incredibly hard. Killing ideas with reality.
We do it all the time.
We really do. You get an inspired idea to start a business, and within 3 seconds, your logical brain jumps in with a spreadsheet of why it will fail. You start aggressively arguing for your own limitations.
I don't have the capital.
The market is saturated. I failed at this before.
And the moment you do that, you lose the shifted state. You found a better cognitive frequency, but you actively refuse to maintain it because you start auditing your current limitations.
Right.
Which leads directly to the core warning in this framework. The profound danger of hyperfixating on your current conditions.
The premise here is that you cannot offer a state of what is and a state of what is coming simultaneously. They are mutually exclusive.
Yes, you have to choose one.
If you spend your day observing and complaining about your lack of money, then lack becomes your practiced default state of being. And the text uses a very grounded example about this woman named Esther who twisted her knee while pulling a heavy suitcase.
Right, the sore knee example.
Yeah. So her knee hurts, it's slowing her down, and it is this loud, flashing reality that demands her attention. But the argument is that focusing on the condition of that sore knee will actually hold the sore knee with her indefinitely.
Because once an unwanted condition has manifested physically, it acts like a magnet for human attention. But the philosophy dictates that if you do not deliberately shift your focus away from it, you are actively feeding it the energy it needs to remain in your experience.
Okay, wait, I have to stop us here, because this is where the philosophy borders on controversial or at least highly counterintuitive.
I know exactly where you're going with this.
Right, because if my physical knee is throbbing with pain, or to use a different example, if my car engine is literally smoking on the highway, I can't just pretend it isn't happening.
No, of course not.
Ignoring a glaring, painful, or dangerous physical reality seems not only impossible, but genuinely reckless. How do you feel good when a physical pain signal is shooting up your leg?
It's a vital question.
Yeah.
And the distinction really lies in how we define ignoring. This isn't advocating for medical denial or reckless negligence. I mean, if your car is smoking, you pull over. If your knee is injured, you go to a doctor.
Okay, good. So we're not totally abandoning logic.
Not at all. What it introduces is the concept of creating an uncondition. See, we fundamentally misunderstand how to use human willpower. We typically use our willpower to fight our reality.
Right, to wrestle a problem to the ground.
Exactly. We analyze it from every angle and try to strangle it to death.
We obsess over it. We basically turn the problem into our entire personality for the week.
Right. But the uncondition dictates that you must use your willpower for one specific task, deliberately shifting your cognitive focus to something that feels better. You still take the physical action, you take the anti-inflammatory medication for the knee, but you stop making the knee the emotional center of your universe. You ignore the condition vibrationally.
So instead of trying to fix the external condition just so I can finally feel relief, I manufacture the feeling of relief first, which then changes how my body or my life processes the condition.
Yes, and consider the biology of pain for a second.
Yeah.
If you hyperfixate on an injury,
Yeah.
your stress levels spike, cortisol floods your system, and your physical inflammation actually worsens.
Oh, wow.
Your brain amplifies the pain signals because you are telling it to treat the injury as an all-consuming threat. By finding a way to cognitively focus elsewhere, you actually lower your stress response, which biologically allows the body to heal faster.
That bridges the gap perfectly. But practically speaking, prying our attention away from a screaming problem is incredibly difficult.
That's the hardest part.
Right, so how do we redirect our focus when the proverbial house is on fire? The text offers a mathematical analogy that might honestly be the most actionable piece of this entire framework. The 10 things rule.
Yeah, the 10 things rule is brilliant. It sets up a very common scenario. Imagine you have 10 important subjects in your life right now. 9 of them are going flawlessly. Your health is great, your kids are happy, your home is comfortable.
Okay.
But one thing, the 10th thing, is going terribly. Say you are in a massive, ongoing conflict with your boss.
Oh, human nature guarantees we will take 100% of our cognitive bandwidth and shine a massive spotlight directly on the toxic boss.
Completely.
We vent about it at dinner, we lose sleep over it, we rehearse arguments in the shower. We literally have 9 beautiful things happening, but we only experience the one awful thing.
And we do this because we mistakenly believe that giving the problem all of our attention is the only way to solve it.
Yeah.
But this framework introduces the concept of an inclusion universe.
Mm-hmm.
In a vibrational or cognitive sense, there is no such thing as the word no.
Okay, that is a tricky concept. What do you mean there's no such thing as no?
Well, think of your brain like a rudimentary search engine. If you type in, "Do not show me pictures of pink elephants," what does the search engine return?
Millions of pink elephants.
Exactly. It ignores the "do not" and searches the key word. When you look at the conflict with your boss and say, "I hate this, I don't want this, make it stop," your brain doesn't register the rejection. It just registers the intense focus on the conflict.
Wow.
You are including it in your active frequency. By fighting it, you are drawing it closer.
You steer where you stare. Our biological filtering system, the reticular activating system, is literal. If you obsess over the bad boss, your brain filters out all the joy from your kids and your health and actively looks for more evidence of why your boss is terrible.
Precisely. Your brain proves you right. So the proposed solution flips our entire problem-solving methodology upside down. If you have 9 good things and 1 bad thing, you must use your sheer willpower to focus exclusively on the 9 good things. The claim is that if you do this, the 10th bad thing must come into alignment.
And it scales up, right?
Yeah.
The text says, even if your life is an objective disaster, like 9 things are burning down and only 1 tiny thing is going right, if you put all your focus on that 1 good thing, it will pull the other 9 into alignment.
Because the mechanics behind this are deeply practical. The frequency of a problem and the frequency of a solution are biologically different states. You simply cannot perceive the solution while you are locked in the panic of the problem.
Right.
By focusing on the 1 good thing, you shift your nervous system out of threat detection mode. You become receptive.
So the sudden impulse or idea that solves the issue with your boss can only enter your mind when you have quieted the alarm bells?
Exactly.
But that brings up a massive existential dilemma. If our reality is molded by our focus, and dwelling on the bad stuff just creates more bad stuff, why do we experience problems in the first place? Like, why is there so much friction in the world?
The framework directly addresses this through the concept of contrast. It outlines a 3-step creative process and argues that friction is actually a vital necessity.
Right. Step 1 relies entirely on that friction. The text refers to the unwanted conditions, the problems, the toxic bosses as contrast. And it argues that without contrast, you are essentially stagnant.
Right.
If you never experience what you absolutely do not want, you cannot clearly define what you do want.
Contrast forces evolution. When you experience the toxic workplace, the sheer discomfort causes you to shoot off what the philosophy calls a rocket of desire.
A rocket of desire.
Yeah, the bad environment instantly crystallizes your desire for a good one.
Right.
You define your boundaries. You ask for respect, autonomy, and support. That asking, born purely out of contrast, is step 1.
And then step 2 is completely outsourced. The framework suggests that source energy or the universe, or, if we want to ground it, your subconscious processing power gathers the cooperative components of that desire.
Right.
It calculates a path of least resistance to get you what you just asked for.
Which leaves step 3 entirely on the shoulders of the individual. The path is mapped out, but you have to become a cooperative component to your own desire. You have to actively find the cognitive frequency of what you want by prioritizing how you feel.
So wait, step 1 is automatic bad things happen and we realize we want better. Step 2 is out of our hands. The solution is generated.
Yes.
So step 3 is where the entire human race trips over its own shoelaces. We ask for the solution, but then we literally sit down on the path and complain about the contrast that started the process. We throw debris onto our own path of least resistance.
It's the ultimate self-sabotage. Your internal guidance system knows the logical, efficient steps to get you from the toxic job to the dream job. But if you spend your days dwelling in anger, anxiety, and frustration, you're actively refusing to cooperate.
Wow.
You are broadcasting a frequency of problem while asking for a solution.
But the waiting period between shooting off that rocket of desire and actually landing the dream job is excruciating.
Oh, yeah.
How are we supposed to navigate that interim period? We want the destination, and the journey just feels like a waiting room we want to escape.
Well, the philosophy is uncompromising here. The journey is the point. Destinations are entirely fleeting. Think about it. The moment you get the new job or the new house, your brain will quickly normalize it, find new contrast, and you'll want something else.
We are endless desire machines.
Exactly. So the text explicitly warns against letting the things you do not yet have beat you up in the present moment. And it points out a rather humorous, yet tragic, psychological defense mechanism we all use when we get frustrated by that waiting period.
Oh, I know this one.
We start auditing our past.
The blame game. We act like forensic accountants of our own misery. We look at our lack of progress and say, well, it must be my mother's fault.
Right.
If I had been supported differently as a child, or if my parents had more money, I wouldn't be stuck here.
It is the ego's absolute favorite trick. We build complex narratives out of our past traumas to explain our current immobility, because it absolves us of the responsibility to change our focus today.
It feels productive because we are, quote-unquote, analyzing the root cause, but the text firmly rejects this strategy entirely. It states that all of your power and all of your emotional leverage exists exclusively in the here and now.
Yes.
It urges the listener to cash in your vibrational currency.
And vibrational currency is essentially your real-time metabolic and cognitive energy. Bringing up decades-old trauma or past limitations to justify why you can't have what you want today fundamentally violates the rule of the present moment. It's the ultimate form of giving your attention to what was.
You basically take the steering wheel, you crank it violently backward, and you ensure that your past becomes your future. If the universe or your reticular activating system only processes what you are currently focused on, and your focus is entirely on how your upbringing limited you, well, your brain will faithfully provide you with more limitations.
You lock your nervous system in a state of historical threat, making it practically impossible to be a cooperative component to your future desires.
So synthesizing all of this, it demands a massive paradigm shift in how we handle the friction of being alive. True change doesn't start with physical objects materializing out of thin air.
Right.
It starts invisibly. A subtle shift in thought, a new impulse, a brief surge of relief. And to cultivate that, we have to stop pouring our attention into the sore knees of our reality.
We must stop using our willpower to wrestle our problems into submission and start using it to radically redirect our focus toward what feels good.
We have to apply the 10 things rule. If there is a massive stain on our reality, we have to look away from it. We have to force ourselves to focus on the things that are working, trusting that lowering our internal alarm bells is the only way to allow the solution to arrive.
Absolutely.
And finally, we have to drop the forensic accounting of our past. We have to stop blaming our history and realize all our leverage is right here, right now.
It is an incredibly empowering framework, but it strips away the comfort of playing the victim. You are the architect of your focus, which means you are the architect of your experience.
That is a heavy responsibility.
It is. And thinking about the sheer mechanics of this inclusion universe where pushing against a problem only pulls it tighter to your chest, I will leave you with a thought experiment to try this week.
All right, let's hear it.
Think about the biggest, most exhausting problem in your life right now. The exact thing you are losing sleep over. The situation you are actively trying to force into submission.
Okay, got it in my head.
What would actually happen if, starting tomorrow morning, you simply dropped the rope? What if you turned your back on the problem entirely and poured 100% of your cognitive energy into the one area of your life that is going perfectly right?
Dropping the rope. It is terrifying because it feels like giving up, but based on everything we've unpacked today, it might be the only way to actually win the tug of war. The pothole is there. You know it's there. But your job isn't to stare at it. Your job is to lock your eyes on the open road.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We will catch you next time as we keep exploring the ideas that shape our world. Keep your eyes on the road ahead.